Okay, so I looked at your assignments. Everybody did very good. We just want to go over what we learned last week. Okay, so we learned about functions, right? Functions. We give input to functions, and functions return output. And we can use variables to save the output, right? For example, this program, the assignment. Okay, this is what I wrote. So, oops, we're not sharing.
Here. Share screen.
Aishna, can you enable sharing? Okay, can you guys see my screen? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just want to go over the program. Okay, so this is my version of that program. So here I'm just saying print, then I'm getting the input from the user, and then I'm assigning that to the first name, then I'm prompting again for the last name, doing the same thing, input, getting the last name, then I'm prompting again, getting the age. Right here I need to convert that output from the input, which is a string, to a number. In this case it's an integer number, age. That's why we use the int function. Okay, and then assigning to that age. Then I'm printing just to make a new line, right? When I don't pass anything to that print function, it's just going to print a new line, okay, on the console. And then I'm printing the result. So I'm saying first name, last name, and I'm printing a new line, and I'm saying voting eligibility, and I have a function to determine the voting eligibility. That function is up here, defined it. No, you guys can hear me, right?
We can hear you.
Okay, so then at the end I have this function. I defined it up here, and I'm calling that function. All it does is it does the comparison between the age and what is our threshold. Threshold is 18, so the age has to be greater than or equal to 18, and it'll return the boolean which we printed out. So let's just run this. Right, that's what it does. So now I know I noticed that some of you had many functions, right? You created lots of functions just for writing out the output, right? The print statement. So you don't really need to create a function if all you're going to do is just print something out, right? So there's no point in that. So the real function is our, like, the logic that we have in our code, which is the eligibility check for that, right, with the age. So only that you really need to create a function for. Rest of it is just, it's just line by line. So another thing I want to show you is how our program gets executed line by line. So this is called debugging the program, right? So on the top right corner you see the bug icon, right? If you click on that, it's going to run in debug mode. And in debug mode, what you can do is you can put breakpoints in your application, so the program will stop at the breakpoint, so you can see what's happening in the program, right? What are the variables and what are the values for the variables getting assigned. So let's just go through that. So basically on the left hand, if you just click on it, it's going to create this red spot. That means that's a breakpoint there. You can have as many breakpoints, right? Let's, to start with, we'll just put a breakpoint at the first statement. Okay, remember the function definition doesn't get executed until you call the function definition. Okay, usually in a program you define the functions up front, okay, at the beginning of it, then you call the functions. Okay, so let's just run this or debug this. So click on debug. So you can see it opens up this debug view, and right now this line is highlighted. That means the program has stopped execution and it's just there. Okay, so if we, and this button here, step over, you see this button here, that when you click on it, it's going to go one line by line. Okay, so you can see what the program does. So if I go here, it goes to the next line, and you can see the console blinking. That means it's asking for input, right? So I'll say John. Oh, okay, so then next line, you click this. Oh, sorry, that was stuck there. Okay, John. Okay, the next line. As soon as it has a question mark, that's where it says it's expecting your input. Okay, so let's just go step by step. Here it's getting the input. Let's say I'm going to say whatever age, and the program is right here. This is the step we are at. Okay, so let's just go over it one by one. You see how I go, like when I go to every other statement, you're going to see the output. So if I'm right now I'm at the print statement first name. I'm going to concatenate the first name and last name. I haven't seen that here. If I step over it, it's going to come, right? Does that make sense? So that's how you go step by step through the program. So this is called debugging. So if your program is not working and you don't know why it's not working, you go through step by step. Okay, now I just want to show you the last line. So when we hit this line here, right, we're stopped here. Where do you think the next execution of the program going to go? Anybody? Because we're calling a function here, right?
Yeah. Int.
So the execution is going to go up here where we define the function. So just to prove, I'm just going to put a breakpoint up here. So if I go next, step over, the program is going to go jump over right here, right? That's how the execution of the program happens. So whenever you call the function, that logic inside is defined up here, so the execution goes up here. Now it's going to return from that function the result, right, which is the Boolean result, and that's going to get printed out, because right now we haven't printed out that yet, right? Because we're still here at the top of the line. I mean, at the top section here in the function, right? So if we step over, right, now the function has returned. It's right here, but the print statement hasn't executed, right? So when we click next, right, now it gets executed, right? Does that make sense? Yes, no? Enya, you understand? Right, the execution, it's happening in a linear fashion, like one by one, but whenever a function is called, it jumps to that function and gets executed. Now you can call this function as many times as you want. Let's say if I put another statement here, right, what do you think is going to happen? It's just going to get called 2 times here. Okay, so let's put a breakpoint. I'm not going to put a breakpoint here. I'm just going to put a breakpoint in the function. It's going to run this. I'm not sure why it's so slow. My computer is so slow. Something is wrong. You see how it jumped right now, right? Because we were at that point, it jumped. I'm going to step over, right? I just want to see the console. So here it'll print first time. Now again, I have another statement, similar statement, right? Same statement, but it's gonna go again into that function. You see, every time there's a function, it goes into that function and it's going to execute those statements inside the function. Okay. So here it printed 2 times true, right? Because we had 2 times. But the important thing is how the flow of the program works. You need to understand the flow. Okay. So the functions, whenever you call a function, the flow goes into that function, right? The execution flow, and then comes out when you return from that function. Okay. Any questions Anything that you don't understand? Okay, why do we need variables? Anybody?
B.
What's the purpose of the variable? Like, remember I was saying in last class how the variables are stored in memory, right?
You have a place for each variable, so then the computer remembers it for the next time you use it in your program.
Yes. So whenever you want to capture the output from a function, and you want to use that output in a later statement and somewhere else in the function, right? You have to capture it as a variable. So you store it someplace, and then you can use it. For example, in our program, we captured the output, right? The user entered in. So we captured that first name and last name because we wanted to use it in our program later on in this print function, right? Because we want to supply it. So that's the reason why we use variables. We only need to use the variables if we want to use that result of whatever in some part of a program later on. Okay. So what if, okay, now we're going to learn something something new that we haven't learned. Another thing is that is everybody clear on the sorry, just listen. Okay, so is everybody clear on the comparison operators, right? So comparison operator, you have to pass two arguments, right? It could be a variable, and this is not a variable, this is just a fixed number, right? And the comparison operator always returns a boolean, okay, true or false. And booleans are very important because booleans will help us down the road to make uh, decisions in our program. Okay, the only way to make decisions in our program is to use the booleans. Like, for example, let's say instead of I'm just printing here true or false, what if I want to print you are eligible or you are not eligible, right? How would I accomplish that, right? In order to do that, we need to learn about the if-else statements. Just like, English, if-else, we want to make decisions based on. So let's say if I want to capture the output from the is eligible to vote, so I'm going to create a variable called eligible, or whatever name. A variable could be any name, right? So I'm calling is eligible to vote, I'm passing in the age. Okay, now I've captured the output from that function into a variable, and eligible is now a boolean. So now we can say if eligible, that means if eligible is true, okay, or I can just say if eligible equal true, then I can do something here, else I can do something else. Okay, so in this instance, let's say if eligible true, I can say print eligible or something, right? Eligible to vote. Okay.
Why have two equal signs?
Oh, remember, just single equal is when you want to assign an output to the variable, right? Whereas two equal, you're comparing this two things, this against this. So if eligible were like the whatever that's returned from a function, we assign it to the variable eligible. If eligible happen to be equal to true in the sense that they are the same, right? Eligible is same as true, then I execute this statement. Otherwise, I will execute this statement. Okay, so here I will say not eligible. Okay, does that make sense? So we use the if else to make decisions in our program, basically to branch. Okay, so if I run this program, first name John Doe again, If I say 30, see it prints eligible to vote, right? Before we were just only printing the variable, right? Now we're doing more than we're doing a check on the variable, right? Right? Eligible equal true. There another shorthand form for checking equal true is like you don't really need to say equal true. You can just say if eligible. This by default it assumes that you're trying to check if this variable is true. If this variable is true, this will get executed. And you don't really need a redundant parenthesis either, but I'm just showing you. Okay, you can write it like this as well. It's another way of doing it. Okay, so let's just step through our program. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I just want to show you the flow of how the program gets executed. Okay, so let's just debug. We come to this step here. Oh, actually, let's enter our username. John Doe. Let's say I put 8. Okay, so now we are here at this place. Okay, we can see our variables here. Age is 8, first name is John, last name is Doe. Okay, now the eligible hasn't appeared yet, right? Even though we have a variable, because the reason is we haven't executed that statement yet. So in our program eligible doesn't exist yet. But if I step through it, right? Remember it went up here and came back, right? Now we have eligible. Right now the eligible is false. Okay, everybody sees that? Okay, so now this statement is going to say if eligible. Basically that means if eligible equal true, then only it will execute this statement. But since our eligible right now is false, this statement will just get skipped and it will go right here. That's what this purpose of this if else block. Okay, it's to make decisions and to branch the execution. Like we don't want to execute this part, we only want to execute this part because it's not eligible. Okay, so just to confirm that, if I step over, you won't see go to here, you will see it'll go right here. You see that it didn't go into this code, this part of the code. Like basically it didn't enter this if block. Okay, it went to this block because the eligible was false, right? Because our function returned false. Make sense? So now it's going to print this statement. So if you look at the console, if I step over, because we're at this line here, we haven't executed this statement here. So if I step over, you'll say not eligible to vote. Okay, now the same thing will happen if I give it last time I gave it what was the name, what was the number I gave? 8. So this time if I give like 39, whatever, right? If I step over, right? So eligible is right now is true, right? So because it's true, it's going to go into this block. It's not going to go here. Okay, everybody clear on that? Inya, you understand? Yeah, so if I step over here, it's not going to go into this statement print eligible to vote, but it's going to go into print not eligible to vote. Oh, sorry, it's going to go into print eligible because it is true, right? Eligible true. Sorry. Did I confuse you guys? Did I confuse you?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So, and if you look at the console, it's going to say eligible to vote. Okay. Now within this if block, I can have many statements. I don't need to have just one statement. I can have as many statements as I want. Like I can do another print. I can call another function. Like say I have another function I can do as much as I want in this. Okay, so it's just a way to branch in your code. Okay, the flow. That's how you make decisions. If something, do whatever in this block, otherwise you do that. And you can also have if blocks within if blocks. There's no limitation on how many ifs you can have within. So what I mean by that is, let's say inside you can have if some other thing, condition, right, if you happen to have it, right, and then you can execute some more stuff, right. You can have basically nested ifs and else. Okay, that's how your program like becomes more intelligent. Basically you're programming more decisions into your program, right? You're specifying more decisions into your program, right? So there's no limit. Okay, and there's another important thing. So let's say I have a function. I want to make a function called let me see. Okay, let's not do this voting anymore. Let's do something else. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. I'm just going to take the age for now. Okay, just for so let's say if I have an age and our requirement is that if age is less than 10 or less than 2, I'm gonna print out. I'm just writing comments. Okay, by the way, when you have like a hashtag, that means it's a comment in your program. You're just writing some comments for you to understand, for you to or not just for you but also for others to tell what the program does. Okay, but the program doesn't execute these statements. Okay, it's just comments. So our requirement, let's say if age is less than 2, I want to print out something like you are a baby. Okay, and if age is let's say greater than 2, or if I say age is less than 5, I'm going to say you are a toddler. Okay, and if age is less than uh, less than 13, I'm going to say you are a child. Okay, that basically I'm saying this is going to be our requirement for our program, and we need to write a program that does this. Okay, based on the age, it needs to either print you are a baby or you're a toddler or you're a child, or if age is greater than 13, or I'm going to say less than 20, I'm going to say you are a teenager. Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
Don't you need to put in between? So in between 2 and 5 is toddler, or in between this and this? Because if you put less than, it'll print, if you're a teenager, it'll print you are a baby, you are a toddler, you are a child, and you are a teenager, right?
Yes, good question. So that's why I'm doing this purposely. So we're going to get to that, how we prevent the program from writing the statement many times. Right? You're concerned that your program is going to, let's say if I give you age 30, your program is going to print you're a teenager, you're a child, you're a toddler, you're a baby, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you it doesn't do that. Okay, the reason is the way you write the conditions in your if else. Okay, we're going to come to that. So let's say our final requirement is if age is anything else. Okay, if age is anything else, I want to print you are an adult or something. Okay, or you are an older adult or something like that. Okay, so remember so we have the age right now up here. So if you want to make those decisions, let's say if age less than 2, right, I'm gonna say print you are a baby. Okay, and then remember we had if and else, but there's also another uh, shorthand version called else if. Elif, sorry, it's called Elif in Python. Elif, okay, and you can say age less than 5. So you are a toddler, okay, and then another Elif. You can keep writing Elif, Elif, Elif like that. So what will happen is, okay, let's just finish this. Age less than 13. Print you are a child. 20. You are a teenager. And at the finally I can just say else. Okay, else, you can only have one else in this if block, and it has to be the last one. Okay, else okay, so what will happen is this whole whenever you have this if else, it's going to work as one unit. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, I forgot the colon. Okay. So by the way, every time you have the if block if else, you have to end it with a colon. Okay, just like when you have it for the functions, you know how we have a defined function name, you put a colon. Same with this. So every time you have a block, like this is called a block, like function block or if else block, you need to have a colon. Okay, okay, now going back to this if else, so elif is a short form for else if. So these two statements are similar to if you were to write, for example, if age less than 2, print you are a baby, else I'm going to start with another if age less than 5, print you are a toddler. Okay, that's basically what's happening here. So instead of saying if else and then another if inside the else, okay, this is a shorthand way of saying that. So you don't have to write like nested inside and inside. Okay, so this is basically the shorthand version. So instead of saying else if, you just say elif and then say. So this whole block works together. So what that means is that anytime one of the, so it goes like this. So let's run the program. Okay, I'm going to put some breakpoints in here and we'll see how it behaves. Okay, am I confusing you guys? I know it's kind of little bit tricky because it's going to get trickier and trickier. You guys following it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inia? Krishna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this okay, let's run this. I'm just going to enter, let's say I enter 20, okay, or 20. So it's going to check here. If age is less, it's going to print this. It's not, so it's going to go to the next check, elif check. If age is less than 5, it's going to print this. Is age less than 5? No, right? Age is 20. So it's going to, what's going to happen is it's going to go to the next elif. Okay, age less than 13? No, it's going to skip. If age less than 20? No, it's going to go. So it is else, right? Because it didn't go into any of these conditions basically. Okay, it didn't match any of our conditions. Age is not less than 2, age is not less than 5. It went in the else block and it's gonna say you are an older adult. Okay, That's what gets printed here. Okay. So now if I say, if I give it another number, let's say for Waylon's question, let's say if I give it 3, it's gonna come here. Is it less than to age? No. So it's gonna go in here. If age less than 5, it is less than 5, right? So now it's gonna print this, you are a toddler, and it's not gonna execute anything else. As long as it goes into one like this one block in this, like we have 1 2 3 4 5, right? 5 blocks. As long as it goes into one block, it's not going to go and do the check for the rest of the blocks. It's just going to come here. So if I run this, see how it came here? It printed you are a toddler, and it came right here. It didn't execute any of the others. So Waylon, does that answer your question?
Yes.
So it doesn't execute all of them. So as long as one of them is executed, it's not going to execute the rest of them. So it's really important how you order the condition, like these checks here. Suppose if age less than 5 here, and then age less than 2 here, right? Then it's going to get messed up. Okay, so if I had something like this, and I ran it, and I put 3, it's gonna say you are a baby. Okay, because it's the first condition that it checks is age less than 5. So it's gonna go right in here and say you're a baby, and it's gonna go out. Okay, so it's gonna print you are a baby. But according to our rules defined up here, only if age is less than, if age is less than 2, you have to say baby, not when it's less than 5. Okay, so does that make sense? So it's really important how you write your if else, because the program, it's going to go into the first block that it satisfies, and it's not going to execute the rest of the blocks. It's going to come out. Okay, are we clear on that? Any other questions on this? Any questions actually? Any is it getting confusing? Too hard? If else, this is basically the like one of the very basics of like decision making in your program. Okay, let me see, did I miss anything here? I mentioned that you can have as many statements inside the block, and you can have if else as complicated. Okay, usually in your programs you don't want to nest too many if else inside, because it just gets harder to read. Like say for example, it's easier to read this if else, right? But if I had written it like this, if else if, right, then I had something up here saying else, right? Then inside I have another if, age less than 13, print you are a child, else if age less than 20, print you you are a baby, else if less than 5 you are a toddler, as if you are a teenager. I'm sorry, toddler is
Charles was right.
oh sorry 2 5, forgot about it. So 2 5, and here you are a toddler, you are a child, or then if less than, hold on, else if age less than 5, else if age less than 13, print your child. else if age less than 20, you are teenager. Else you're going to say print you are an older adult. Okay, basically these two things, this one and this one, are programmatically equivalent, but which one is easier to read? The first one, right? Yeah. So here I'm just saying, if I come here in this block, right, this one has basically two blocks, if else, but the else block has all the other stuff. Okay, and so if I say age less than 2, I'm going to print you're a baby, and I'm going to get out. Otherwise I'm going to go into this else block and check this one. If age less than 5, then I'm going to print. Otherwise I'm going to go into this block and check again. If age is less than 13, I'm going to print. Otherwise I'm going to go into this block, and in this block I'm going to check if age is less than 20. If it is, I print this, otherwise I get out. Okay, so you don't really want to nest too much. That's why you have this Elif statement. It's basically the same thing. Okay, I know it's kind of harder initially because you haven't seen anything before like this, right? So programming is always harder at the very beginning because it's a different way of thinking. But once you understand, it's really simple actually. Okay, you just have to visualize. Yeah, you have a
We only
question?
have 1 minute in the meet. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can just log in again.
One more minute in the meet, please.
Yeah.
I want to take my. Want the dump truck in the flush? Here comes the. I
Inia, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, Krishna, you there?
Yep.
Okay, so okay, thanks for that. So okay, you can see my screen again. So what else? So decision making. Okay, if else statements. Okay, I could teach you another thing today, but it might be a little bit too much. So let's practice on this if else some more. Okay, so let's create another file or Python file. So right click here, new Python file, if else practice. Okay, so let's see what else can we use for if else. Let's take an input, okay, and convert it to let's say this time we take a string. Okay, let's see. Oh no, let's take an age. Okay, age is easier. I'm trying to think what example should I give you. Uh, mm, mm, mm. Okay, let's say we'll just write our logic in a function. Okay, so our function will say print uh, okay. So it's just going to accept this word, and I'm just going to copy this thing. Okay, so instead of printing right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return, or I'm going to say not print but get. So basically I'm writing a function that's going to give me a string. Okay, that's going to basically represent, or it's going to give me an idea of of this age. Okay, so it's going to tell me, either it's going to tell me you are a baby, you're a toddler, you're a child, you're a teenager, or you're an older adult. Okay, so rather than printing, I'm just going to return. And here I can say, I'm just going to call it label, and I'm going to call get age appropriate. I'm going to change this function name into label. I'm going to pass an age. Okay, so when I call this function with this age, it's going to return me either one of these things, because if else this whole block, which whenever the first condition meets, that's the block that's going to execute, and the rest of the blocks are not going to get executed. Okay, so this is one function. Now I'm going to have another function saying again our old function. Okay, I have two functions. Okay, one is, it's going to give me a label for that age. The other one is going to check if it's going to tell me a boolean that says if eligible to vote. Okay, so now in this I can say if eligible to vote age, I will say print you are eligible to vote. Okay, uh, otherwise else I don't need the brackets actually. Otherwise I will just say print you are not eligible to vote because I'm just going to add that label in here. Okay, so what do you think going to happen in this program?
So it's gonna get your age.
Yes,
But it doesn't ask the question.
Oh, okay, let's ask the question. Okay, so we ask the question, enter your age. We're going to get the age. Then what are we going to do here?
And it's going to say either you are eligible to vote or you are not eligible. It's going to say because, and it's going to enter one of those
Yes,
at the top.
but what is happening here? I'm calling this function right after this age, right?
Yeah, which is why it's there.
Which is gonna so this label would be, regardless of whether I am eligible to vote or not, I will have a label here based on this if else, right? So let's run the program. You're right, but I just want you to know that what's actually happening behind the scene, right? So I could have taken so I took a label. I calculated the label up here at the front, like up front, but I didn't have to do that because in my program I only need the label only when there's an else, right? I don't use the label in here in this part if it is eligible to vote. So I can do this. I can create the label in this if else block instead of up here. Okay, so I only need to create the label if it is not eligible to vote. Okay, so why would I do something like this? Why would I create instead of creating up here? So anytime any statement that is run by the computer, it's going to take some time to execute, right? So in this program, if I don't need to print the label if I'm eligible to vote, then I don't need to spend time calculating this label. Like I only need to calculate the label if I come into this else block. Does that make sense? Okay, let's just run this program. Say I put 10. It's going to say, you are a child, you are a child. Okay, something went wrong.
Run that program.
Oh, sorry, wrong
That's
program.
what I did too.
Right, thank you. Enter your age, 10. You are eligible to vote, it says. No, that's not
You
right.
have less than
Less than sign.
So yeah,
less than instead of greater than.
thank you. So that's a bug. You are not eligible to vote because you're a child. Okay, and child because you are less than 13, you are a child. Let's say if I put, oh sorry, wrong place. If I run this and say, if I say 2, it's going to say you are not eligible to vote because you are a toddler. Okay, so basically we have wrote a program that it's getting more intelligent and more intelligent, right? We have the ability to make more decisions based on the if else, and we are able to say exactly why you're not eligible to vote, right? Kind of. Does that make sense? But the important part is that I want you guys to know what are functions, and using the output of the function you can make decisions using if else. Okay, and ifs and else blocks gets only executed once. Okay, and it's really important how you put these conditions, like in which order you put the conditions. The order of the conditions matters. Okay, once one block gets executed, the other blocks won't get executed. So it's really important that how you order the conditions.
Why does the order matter?
Let's say if I put age, remember I said if I put age here 5 and 2, right, and I put toddler here and you are a baby here, or did I do baby? I forgot, baby, right? And if somebody puts in 2 here, it's gonna come and it's gonna check age is, if age is 2 and age is 2 is less than 5, and it's gonna say you are a toddler, but in fact we wanted to say you are a baby, right? Or sorry, if somebody, yeah, if I put 1 or something,
Yeah.
right, Inia? So that's why. Yeah. And something to consider is that whenever you have these functions, you define all of them up in the beginning, okay? Then this is basically where your actual program starts executing from. The function definitions don't get executed. It's just a definition. Okay, it starts up here. Like if I put a breakpoint here and if I run the program, it's not going to stop there because that's not the first statement in our program. Our first statement is this one: enter your age. Okay. Any other questions? Krishna, are you following?
Yeah.
Okay, what else can I teach you guys today? I don't want to teach too much in one day, then you guys gonna get confused. Next time I will prepare more examples because I don't think I have enough examples today. I didn't think, that's my fault. But at least this should give you a good understanding of if else and the conditions. Okay, suppose remember I said that you have less than, equal, greater than, all those things, right? So if had I used those ones in here, our program would not work as expected, right? So remember,
Because that's a two-answer thing. This is more open-ended.
huh?
Because you have the.
No, I mean the it has to, the logic has to be correct, right? Right? Like if I say else if age greater than 20 and I say you are an older adult, right? And here I have less than, equal to, less than, I don't know, 10. This is not going to work, right? You know what I mean? Because let's say I put in a number 21, or sorry, if I put 15 won't come, like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I trying to say? I don't think I'm making myself clear. So the operators that you specified, it has to make logical sense to what your program is trying to do, right? You can't just put statements out of order. So that's the important part of this if else. The conditions have to be in the order that that makes sure that only the first one that gets executed gives you the right answer. Okay, like basically what I'm saying is, if I take this block and I put it up here, even though this individual condition and what you need to return is correct, but because of the ordering, let's say if I put in 12, I want to get you are a child here, but instead it will say you are a teenager, right? Because the ordering was wrong. How we set up the program is wrong. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the key takeaway is the ordering matters. Any doubts or any questions that you have in this if-else decision-making blocks? Everything's crystal clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so tomorrow we will learn about another important or basic basic thing in Python. It's so we have decision making, like we can make decisions right now. Sometimes after you make a decision, you might need to repeatedly make that decision in a loop, or you might need to do something in a loop. Okay, say for example, if I had a program, say right now a program, it just only asks for one age, right? One age, and it stops. It prints out the result and it stops. What if I want to keep asking this question again and again, so the user can input as different age as he wants, right? Yeah, repeating. Exactly, repeating. So we're going to learn about how to repeat, or in programming terms it's called looping. How do you loop some statements again and again? Okay, that's what we're going to learn tomorrow. So slowly we will start building our tools so we can write more complex programs. Okay, so I want you to just go and practice this if else, and pick anything. It doesn't have to be age, it could be some other anything. Like you get a number and you start making some decisions that you want to do. Like, I don't know, I can't think of an example, but if you can think of something that you wish that the computer can automate something, just write it in an if else block and see if you get the right output that you are expecting. Okay, so just practice that, and we'll learn about loops tomorrow, and then we will have an assignment, okay, that puts everything together, and that you have to use all these statements, okay, all of the stuff that you learned to come up with the solution. Okay, so that's it for today. You have any questions before you start practicing? So you have to practice, okay? That's the only way to get good at it. Sometimes, because this example is so simple, you might not be able to grasp all those little nuances, but if you start practicing, then you will come across those nuances. And so practice it, so if you have questions, we can go over them tomorrow. Okay, so just practice for at least 1 hour. Okay, guys? All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. And for